There was a woman many years ago. She came in to see me one day for marriage counseling, and she had a real serious situation. Her husband was having an open affair where he would come home in the evenings and eat and change his clothes and go spend the night with his girlfriend. Then he would come home in the morning and change his clothes and eat again and go to work. He did that every day. And this woman came in to see me, and she said, well, my husband is doing this. And she said, we fight all the time, and, I just, am so angry at him for what he's doing. And I told her, I said, you understand, you don't have to stay in that relationship. I said, if your husband is that, flagrant about his behavior and unwilling to change, I'm not going to ask you to stay in that relationship, and I don't believe God would either. And she told me, she said, well, I love him and I want my marriage to work. And she said, that's why I came to see you. And I said, well, I'll be happy to help you if you want me to. I said, but understand from the very beginning, I'm not forcing this on you, and I don't think anybody else would either. So I said, well, let me tell you what to do if you want to fix your marriage. I said, Ephesians chapter 5 says that your role in the marriage is to honor your husband as you would the Lord. And literally to treat him as you would Jesus Christ. And I said, so what I want you to do is to go home, and I want you to fix yourself up for your husband, no arguing with him. I said, you can tell him how you feel respectfully, but don't try to enforce it. And I said, fix him his favorite meal, treat him well when he comes home, wait on him, serve him, love him, be affectionate and kind. And as I'm talking, you know how puppies do when they, the longer I talk, the more she goes in this puppy mode. And she said, did you hear what I said about my husband? I said, I told you can divorce him. I said, if you want to divorce him, but if you want to redeem him, I'm telling you how to redeem him. And she, as I was talking, she was just looking at me like, you must be joking. So I said, I'm not joking. And I said, go home and treat your husband as you would Jesus Christ and come back and see me next week. So she left, came back the next week. And I said, how's it going for you? She said, well, I've got his attention. And she said he stays home longer, comes home earlier. He's still going over and spending the night with her. She said, but I'm treating him well. I'm being very affectionate with him, very kind. We haven't argued because I'm very honoring to him. And she said after the second or third night, he was sitting there reading the paper one night, and he just dropped the paper and said, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you up to? What do you want? And she said, I didn't know what to say to him. She said, well, what do I say to him? And I said, well, here's what I want you to say to him. I said, go home, do the same thing you're doing. And I said, the next time he asks that question, say, the preacher at church told me to do this, and he wants to talk to you now. And she said, really? So she went home, and her husband, again said, what are you doing? And she said, well, the preacher at church told me to do this, and now he wants to talk to you. So next time she comes in, he's with her. And she walks in the door first, and then he kind of slinks in the door, and he sat down, and he was just, kind of sitting there. And so we started talking. He said, well, I know you know what I did. And I said, yeah, she's told me everything. And he said, well, she's treating me great, and it's making me feel terrible. And it was like, oh, boy, we both feel terrible about that now, And so I said, yeah, really? He said, yeah, when she was fighting with me, I'd go spend the night with my girlfriend. I felt fine about it. But now that she's treating me nice, he said, it makes me feel bad, and I don't like that. Let me make a long story short. He got radically saved that day, joined our church. He and his wife were in the church for 5 years before they moved. Fantastic husband, fantastic father, man of God, and one of my favorite people on the earth. When he walked in the church, I smiled every time I saw that guy. He was one of my favorite human beings. And I'm telling you, he just said it. Her behavior is what got to me. It was the way she treated me that brought conviction upon me and made me know I didn't deserve her and I needed to be a better man. And so I'm going to tell you another story now at the end of the message that kind of balances that story out just a little bit. But let me just say, you have to be willing to do the right thing for someone not doing you right. That means meeting their needs. That means being affectionate and being kind. That means pursuing them when they're ignoring you. You're doing the right thing, they're doing the wrong thing. Let me tell you my final story, and I'll finish. A woman came to see me with similar circumstances to the first woman I talked about. And her husband was having an open affair and wouldn't stop. He was not gone every night, but he was gone several nights a week with his girlfriend. And she came in to see me, and she told me what was going on. And I told her the same thing I said to the first lady. I said, you have grounds for divorce. You don't have to stay in this relationship if your husband is going to do this. And she said, I love my husband, and I want to make our marriage work. So I told her the same thing I told the first lady. Go home, treat him like the Lord. She did. She was a really great lady. She went home, and she did everything that I asked her to do for 3 months, several months, I should say. And she came back in, and she said, I'm doing everything you talked to me about. It's not working. I can't do it anymore. I just don't have grace for it anymore. And I said, totally understand. I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's not my job. It's up to you to hear God on your own. But I will say this. I believe that you've done everything that you can do, and your options are open to you. So she divorced her husband after doing everything she could to make it work. She met a man here in church. And of course, she was free as far as we were concerned. And she met a man here in church, a wonderful guy that I had known for a long time. They got married, blessed marriage. Now listen to me. She came out of that marriage obviously hurt because her marriage had suffered. But she came out obedient. And for the rest of her life, she knows she did everything she could do. No regrets. No regrets. And God protected her and blessed her in the process. And afterwards, he blessed her in her new relationship, and that I know of. I've known them for many years. They're doing great today. And she's a wonderful woman of faith. Listen to me. Redemption doesn't always work. Not everybody got saved because Jesus died on the cross. But Jesus did the right thing, didn't he? In all of eternity, Jesus will never look down into hell and see a person there and say, it was my fault. I could have done more. I should have done more. For all of eternity, Jesus knows that every person in hell is there by their own choice, but he did everything he could to stop it. Redemption works most of the time, in my experience. But sometimes it doesn't work, but it's always right. And when you're the Redeemer, God will bless and protect you. And you'll come out of circumstances and be in circumstances. And when other people are being devastated, you're not. And when other people are not being blessed, you're being blessed. Redemption is the right way to live our lives because God blesses it. We're able to bring these programs to you because of a very special group of people called our Rock Solid Partners. And they give every month to this ministry, literally the financial backbone of this ministry. They get a special resource called the Dream Marriage Library. Karen and I are asking you to stand with us financially to help take this message across the world and to help people succeed in marriage. Here's how you can become a partner.
Take a stand for your marriage and become a rock-solid partner today. Join at the $14 level and you'll receive online access to the Dream Marriage Library with a new message each month. At the $28 level, you'll also receive each month's lesson on CD and DVD. And join at the $56 per month level and we'll add exclusive partner perks, including invitation-only access to live phone seminars and exclusive Marriage Today events. Become a rock-solid partner today. Thank you for joining us. Partner with Marriage Today and receive the series, Our Secret Paradise. Marriage Today's latest book, Happy, Happy Love, will supercharge your marriage with practical tips, wisdom, and inspiration for every stage of marriage. Visit happylovebook.com. Follow your interests and get social by connecting with Jimmy and Karen and the Ministry of Marriage Today on Twitter. And don't forget, become a rock-solid partner and receive the Dream Marriage Library. There's a rock-solid partner level to fit every need.